Hi, I'm James Robinson of Robinson Stocks. I manage money for a living, and this is my stock pick of the week. Today's pick is the company Encore Wire. The symbol is WIRE. Whenever I do an analysis of a company, I always make 5 videos. Those 5 videos talk about different facets of the company. The first one I do is an overview, which this video is the overview of Encore Wire. Then I do one on the operations, which is how good a job the company does in delivering goods and services to the customers or how efficiently they do that. I do one on the company's balance sheet, which is how strong the company is in terms of its debt structure and how much cash it has, how much assets it has. I then do one on the company's dividends typically, although some companies don't pay dividends, so I'll skip that. And then I do one on wealth creation, which is how good a job the management does in enriching the shareholders. So what I'll also do is I will post, as I post these videos, which I'll do over the next few days, I will put links to those videos in the comments down below. Encore Wire Corporation manufactures and sells electrical building wires and cables for interior electrical wiring in the United States. They also do some aluminum, but mostly it's copper stuff. As you can see here, they do all different kinds of cables. Long story short, if you need wiring for your house for any purpose or for any commercial building for any purpose, Encore Wire probably makes that product. They sell their products to wholesale electrical distributors, primarily through independent manufacturers and representatives. They were founded in 1989, and they're based out of McKinney, Texas. An interesting thing to note here is this is a $2.5 billion company. They own their headquarters and their factory, which is about 2.8 million square feet of floor space. They also own 489 acres of land, and they own all that debt free and all that stuff free and clear. So if you presume that industrial space in the Dallas area is $150 a foot, then that tells you they have about $500 million worth of real estate free and clear. In addition, the company has $450 million in cash, and they have no debt. So it's a $2.5 billion company, but they have about $1 billion in assets. Believe me, the industrial market is really red hot, and they have about $1 billion in assets. So either are liquid or could be very quickly converted to liquid. So that's an interesting thing. The company has about 1,400 employees. As of October 25th, the company's market cap was $2.59 billion. They had revenues of $2.97 billion, profits of $689 billion. The PE ratio is 3.99. The company pays a dividend of 0.06%, so hardly anything. The company has no debt. It is not a member of the S&P 500, and it employs, as I said, about 1,400 people. Some interesting things here. Obviously, when you look at a company, you're buying it, basically 4 times earnings. That seems like it's just too good to be true. It probably is. This company was making $70 or $80 million a year for a number of years. In the last few years, they've had a situation where the price of copper has come down quite a bit, and the demand for their products have gone up quite a bit. So they've had some outsized profits. I took that into account when I was looking at this company. If this company was to have its income cut by 75%, it'd be trading at 12 times earnings, and I'd still be comfortable with the company at that point. Other things that we're going to talk about later is this company's doing a fantastic job of buying back stock. They're buying back 4% of the company a quarter. So basically what's happening is they're making all this money. They're not paying a dividend. They only need about $100 million a year in capital improvements. And the rest of that, they're giving back to us by buying back stock. And that means that we're going to own a larger and larger portion of this company. Eventually, this market's going to turn. Copper prices are going to go up. There's going to be a reduction in demand. And when that happens, you're going to see these profits probably normalize. But my belief is that by the time that happens, we're going to own a significantly larger portion of this company, even though we didn't buy it. And that's sort of the investment thesis of this company. It's making a bunch of money now. We're going to ride it while it does. We're still buying it really, really cheap. And when the profits normalize, we'll still be in a really good position. So here you can see my score for this company. As we've talked about before, I look at a company through 29 categories. 9 of them are operating categories, 10 are financial categories, which is the company's assets and debt load, and 10 of them are management issues, which is the management job of creating, what kind of job the management doing is creating wealth for the shareholders. So when you look at this, you can see that the operations for this company are really pretty average. They're nothing to write home about. That's what you would expect from an old school manufacturer like this. They're not really high tech. They're not doing software where they have no cost of goods sold. they've got a factory and they're building stuff in this factory, and that costs money and it's hard to do. The result is gross margins aren't great, and other factors about the business are, less than we would like. But I built that into the analysis, and I still think it's a good company. The company has no debt, which is spectacular. It's got $500 million in assets, in cash, which is spectacular. As we talked about, it's got another $500 million roughly in real estate. And so the financials of this company are great. And the management of the company it looks like it's okay on this chart, but for the last few quarters, they've been buying back stock at a fantastic rate, which is what made it really, really interesting for me. So that's an overview of this company, of Encore Wire. I think it's a good play. I think it's something you should consider buying. I do think before you buy it, you should watch my videos specifically on operations, but also on balance sheet and wealth creation, just to get a sense for what you're really getting into. It's not a typical company that I would tell you to buy, but it is one I'm comfortable owning as an equal sized portion of my portfolio. So that's it for Encore Wire. Thank you very much for your time.